there, fellow travelers. Jocelyn with Wolters World, and I am in O Fim do Mundo, Brazil. Truly, I'm sort of at the end of the world. But today I wanted to kind of talk to you about travel safety for women, particularly women who are traveling alone. But this sort of applies whether you're traveling with girlfriends or a spouse or just any old friends, right? So here are some safety tips for you. My first tip is to blend in where you can. But whether that means like cultural norms, how we dress, maybe like, just looking the part. Obviously, there are places I go in the world where I don't look the same. Like the summer that I spent living in Beijing, I don't look Asian. It's not gonna happen, right? But I can look like an expat, and I can do that by walking with a purpose, dressing according to norms. Like maybe that means having your shoulders covered or your knees covered or your hair covered. Research those things. Know what's expected of you and how you should look in public. Another funny little tip that I like to give is to carry a shopping bag from a local grocery store. What? Yeah, seriously. Then I at least look like an expat. I look like some kind of local, and I can put things like my water bottle or my sunscreen, because I really need that right now. Those things that don't really matter too much can go into that bag, and you can look like you fit the part. Why do we want to blend in? Well, if we're flying under the radar and we look like we're local, we're less likely to be a target for pickpockets and unsavory sort of characters, right? You don't look like you're unfamiliar. And if you look like you're familiar, they're not probably going to target you as much as they would someone else. With that goes my second thing. Don't overpack. Let's take this example. If you see a woman walking and she's got one carry-on bag with maybe a purse attached to it, right? Or you see a woman with two giant suitcases, a duffel bag hanging off of one, a backpack on her back, and a purse over her arm, which one are you going to try and pickpocket? Which one is going to be less likely to be able to react? You know the answer. Don't overpack. Overpacking also just makes everything more clumsy and difficult. Getting on and off of trains and planes and in and out of cabs, all of that becomes more difficult. And I like to have free hands. Should the worst happen, I want to be able to react. My other thing is, don't bring your bling. Nobody needs to be walking around with a 3-carat diamond on their hand. It only makes other people look at you a certain way. It also means somebody may try to target you because you look wealthy, and so therefore you have something to take. I have friends who are like, oh, well, that's why I take this fake ring that I got at Macy's. And I'm like, but Joe Schmo, who's going to, pickpocket you, they can't tell at a glance if that's a real diamond or if it's a crystal. It just leave the sparkly, shiny things away. That said, I've got one on. This ring is something I take everywhere with me. It doesn't attract a lot of attention, except maybe in this sunlight right now. But it's a great ring because it's flat and square and made of brass, so it's kind of like my own brass knuckles. If somebody were ever to grab onto me or I had to slap somebody or punch them in the face, I feel better with this on. Do I need it? I hope not, but I've got it if I do. And it's also, like I said, it's pretty unobtrusive. Couple of things on emergency information. You really should know the word for help wherever you're going, and also the emergency numbers. It's not always 911, y'all. So here in Brazil, the emergency number for the police is 190. For like the bombeiros, the fire department, it's 192. Know those things. Know how to say ayúdame or ajuda-me or whatever. Maybe you need to learn the word for fire because people know that everywhere you go, right? So be aware of whatever that local information is that you need to have. Plan ahead, and I'm not just talking about research. Plan ahead on how you're going to get to something. Are you going by foot, taxi, bus, subway, whatever? Know where you're going in a city. Look at maps. Plan out where you're going to go. Google Street View is an amazing thing for this. Use that resource. Go and see where the streets are around your hotel and how you're going to get to, the nearest sites or whatever. Knowing those things ahead of time is really great, especially that first time you leave the hotel. Also, that first time you go out, pay attention to markers as you're walking around. Maybe there's this really interesting graffiti somewhere. Know that in the back of your mind, that's your marker for where you got to turn right or something like that. Just know your surroundings, understand where you're going, how you're going to get there, how you're going to get back so that you don't get lost, because getting lost somewhere really sucks. Take it from me. I kind of hit on this when I was talking about blending in, that researching cultural norms, it's not just about how you dress. There are some places in the world where direct eye contact between males and females isn't okay. You may not be able to shake hands with a man. PDA is not okay, like for instance in Rwanda, and I was there with my husband. We hold hands all the time. And there was one point, just naturally I grabbed his hand and he kind of like shook it off and I was like, oh right. It's not that anyone's going to be angry with us there, but it might make someone else feel uncomfortable. So it's a good thing just to be aware of how those social interactions happen. There will be places in the world that you as a foreigner may be given a little bit of leeway and they're not going to care so much if you aren't doing those social norms. But don't count on it. Don't expect to be given a pass just because you're not from that place. Y'all, let's go back to kindergarten. Look both ways before you cross the street. Don't take rides from strangers. Don't let people buy you drinks. Sometimes just those small things we kind of forget about and we sort of need to pay attention to. Getting into a car with a stranger is never a good idea. Don't do it. It's okay to be suspicious of people and it's okay to be rude sometimes. If a tout is like going on and you are uncomfortable, walk away. Be a jerk. Don't worry about your manners. We women tend to be too nice sometimes. It's okay to like take a step back and just not participate. Walk off. Sometimes you have to be really stern with people. You have to be assertive occasionally. Pay attention to your gut. If you are uncomfortable, screw your manners. Self-defense. There are different camps on this one, but I personally feel that everyone should take a self-defense class simply because it makes you more confident. Is it going to help me fight someone off? Maybe, maybe not. Am I going to learn one or two little things to keep me safer? Probably so. Gaining that confidence is probably the biggest thing that you're going to have that's going to help you as you travel around on your own. I think it's really important to just walk around with purpose and confidence, and then you don't look like a mealy-mouthed little person that can be taken advantage of, right? So holding yourself up like that changes everything, and self-defense does that for a lot of women. Also, so many women just don't know how to throw a punch. I know how to throw a punch, and I'm glad I do. Also, little things that they've taught me, like if somebody grabs your arm, take your hand and knock on the top of their hand. It hurts like the dickens. I am not kidding. It's like an automatic thing. They'll let go 9 times out of 10. Just something that small that you can run and get away. Those little things that you learn in self-defense. I'm not saying you have to be like a master of Krav Maga or anything like that, but knowing how to take care of yourself is a good thing, especially for who you are inside. I like to drink, not gonna lie. However, I try to stay sober, especially when I'm traveling alone. I might have a drink or two, but I'm gonna pace myself. I eat when I drink. I drink water between cocktails. I do not try to keep up drinking with Eastern Europeans because vodka is like water to so many of them. Don't feel peer pressure to stay up to the drinking task with a group of people or anything like that. If someone buys you a drink, maybe ask for something bottled so that you can see it. Those normal things that we teach, women when they go off to college so they're not roofied. Roofing can happen anywhere. So pay attention to your drink. Don't leave your valuables, with people that you think you trust wherever you are. Like, oh, you met this person, man or woman, and you've been hanging out with them in the bar for a few hours. Don't leave your purse with them while you go to the bathroom. Just don't do it. Don't get drunk with them, because you know what? It slows down our reaction time, it lowers our inhibitions, and we'll do things sometimes that we wouldn't ordinarily do if we're thinking very clearly. So watch your sobriety. Get travel insurance. Most credit cards will give you some type of travel insurance just on flights and reimbursement and things like that. Some even have clauses for like healthcare and whatnot. Depending on where you're going, how long you're going to be gone, what your age is, you need to research different plans of travel insurance. You can talk to your insurance agent at home. They may be able to give you a really good place to look at things. Just be aware of it. Find things that you need, because you know what, like if you're going snorkeling or skydiving, or you're doing like certain crazy sports, or you're traveling to certain countries, it may not be covered under your health insurance or the travel insurance. So check those things out before you go and buy the appropriate plan for what you're doing on a particular trip. Always have two things, a secret stash and copies. Secret stash of money and credit cards. Somewhere in your bag, there might be like a lining or something like that. You can wrap a credit card in a piece of tin foil so that it's RFID protected, and shove it in there. Somewhere separate in another place, put some cash in there, like maybe $50 or just whatever it can get you to the airport. And then you can use that credit card to buy yourself a plane ticket or a train ticket or whatever you might need. And then keep copies of everything, your passport, front and back of all your credit cards and debit cards, all your information, whether it's like your health insurance card or copy of your travel insurance that you're absolutely going to have. Keep all of those in your email or the cloud. Have another copy with friends or family at home that you trust, so that if anything happens, you've got backup and you know where to go and what to do to like turn those credit cards off, how to employ the reimbursement, and call on that insurance company that you need to help you out of this bind. So secret stash, copies. Never leave home without them. On that note, when you're traveling, all the stuff that you have that's very valuable, keep in the safe. Often there's a lockbox or something at a hotel or a hostel. If there isn't, I know people who take like indestructible bags, and they lock them onto like a pipe or the bottom of the bed or something like that. Is it gonna help? I mean, if somebody's gonna rob you, they're gonna rob you. But trying to like at least make it difficult for them may send them on to somewhere else where they, someone else is like more an easy target, right? There are things you should leave back at the hotel. You don't need to take everything with you all of the time. Take only what you need so that if something happens while you're out, you've got whatever is back at the hotel, there and safe. Also, if the stuff at the hotel or the hostel or whatever gets robbed and, that's gone and missing, you have what's on your person. Chances are both aren't going to happen to you at once. At least, I hope they really don't, because that would suck. But again, those two things will help. Splitting things up, always good idea. A lot of us are going out traveling and we have a very set budget, or we're trying to travel really cheap. I get that. But always budget in a cushion for spending on safety. So there are going to be times when you aren't comfortable and you need to take a cab. Or maybe you get to a hotel and you didn't realize that it's in this like really creepy, sketchy, isolated location. Maybe you need to not stay there and you need to be able to spend that night somewhere else in a more central location. Also, spending on safety isn't just about where you stay and what rides you take, it's also about the tours you take. Go with the good guide that has a lot of great reviews. Don't go with the person that has sketchy reviews or that, was hitting on women. Like, that's in reviews. Read the reviews. Find out what's good and what's bad. Decide to spend a little extra on the safety. Also, if you're taking classes like a scuba class or you're gonna go zip lining or whatever, I wouldn't take the shoddy class. I mean, you're literally under thousands of pounds of pressure of water with the oxygen tank strapped to your back. Take the one that's good and that has good reviews. It might cost you $20 more, but is that worth your safety? I certainly think it is. So budget for that. Pay attention to reviews before you go, and that'll help you figure out just how much you need. Check in with people at home. You may want to set up something like a routine thing, like I'm going to check in every day. You may be in a place where there is no internet or cell phone service and you can't check in every day. So if that's the case, maybe you say I'm every third day. Whatever that is, make sure that you're regularly letting people know where you are. Give your parents, your friends, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever, give people your itinerary at home so they kind of know where you are. They got your flight numbers and things like that. I know as we travel, if you're like me, sometimes it's by the seat of your pants and you're not really sure where you're gonna go and where you're gonna stay and all those things. Just keep people updated. Try to let them know where you're going with whom, and if you're gonna be in a place without cell service or, without internet or something, let them know. And I'm gonna say this, like I've been in the Serengeti and had decent Wi-Fi. It was only decent at night, but that's okay. I had Wi-Fi and I could check in with my family, right? They're like deep in the Amazon or hiking the Inca Trail or something like that. You may not have connectivity for like days, but that's where paying for a good guide might come in handy, and like budgeting for that ahead of time is a good idea, so that even if you're not checking in with someone back home, you're with people that are reputable, and that's very important for our own safety. And I think that goes for everyone's safety, not just women's. Avoid demonstrations and protests. When you see huge gatherings of people and they look kind of rowdy, or even if they don't look very rowdy, sometimes it's really good just to avoid that, because you don't necessarily know what's going on, and you don't want to get caught into a situation where, oh Lord, there's tear gas, because I don't know about you, but I've seen that on the news quite a lot, and I don't want to get tear gas. That's like not the souvenir I need. So pay attention to large groups and kind of just back away. Let's talk about help. If it's unsolicited, be wary. Sometimes people are just trying to help you out, but you know the guy who's like trying to put your bags on the train for you? He's probably asking for a tip, maybe, or, you know, at worst, he could be trying to take your bag from you. So pay attention to those people who are trying to help you without you having asked for it. Also, there's another reason to pack light, because you can carry your own little bag on. You don't need the guy by the train station to try and help you with that, right? Also, let's ask for help occasionally. Talk to the concierge, the staff at your hostel, your hotel, at a restaurant. They'll tell you if you should or should not go to a place like late at night, or if you should only go during the day. And sometimes those sketchy areas may look okay during the day, and they really are fine. And sometimes even at night, they're not so bad, but like 2 a.m. alone, not a good place to be. And our perception of those is all different. The more we travel, or the more places we've been to, the way we see those things changes, and maybe we're better able to judge, and maybe we're kind of being callous because, oh, I've been in this kind of place before and it was fine. Just always be on your guard with that and pay attention to the space around you, but ask people if you should be there or not, because those people at your hotel or wherever, they're going to be honest with you and tell you, oh, we don't want you to go there at that time, or you know what, don't go there at all. Take their advice, ask for their help, take their advice. Let's talk about protection. Use it, whether that's a seatbelt, a condom, or a helmet. Concussions and STDs are not things that you want to bring home. They're like the worst souvenirs. So use your good common sense and take precautions where you need to. Last, but probably not least, no, definitely not least, social media posts. I almost never post from where I am. If I'm posting something, you can bet it's at least a couple of days behind. I don't want people to know where I am all the time. I can DM my family about where I am, but I'm not going to let the entire world see that. This is particularly important if you have a public account on like Instagram or Twitter or whatever. Like, just don't let the whole world know where you are at every given moment, or maybe any given moment. I never go live. It's just something I've decided not to do for my own safety, and also because I'm not really comfortable with people knowing where I am. It's kind of weird and creepy, you know? So pay attention to what you're posting, where you're posting, and when you're posting. So those are some of my safety tips, and I know I probably have a whole lot more. No, I definitely have a whole lot more, and I'm sure many of you do too. So please put those in the comments below, because the more we share, the more we can protect ourselves and each other. And wouldn't the world just be a better place if we all took care of each other a little more? Yeah, I think so. All right, so travel well, travel safe. See y'all later.